This is the new Bajaj Pulsar NS400Z, the biggest, the meanest, the most badass Pulsar to date. Big in terms of unmatched features, big in terms of unbelievable value, and big in terms of unlimited power, and also big in terms of undeniable thrill. Can't believe because it feels just like yesterday back in 2001 when the Pulsar twins were first launched. A defining moment in the history of Indian motorcycling scene because back then manufacturers were on a quest to make the most fuel efficient bike, but here was Bajaj who put their foot down to underscore the thrill in motorcycling. A brand that laughed at convention, a brand that took its stand against the run of the mill, a brand that believed in their vision of letting the common man pursue an uncommon dream. Pulsar for us is more than a bike. It is pure emotion, it's poetry in motion, and it's every child's dream, every man's wish to own a Pulsar at least once in their lifetime. Now, Pulsar changed the way the people look at motorcycles, it changed the common man's perception of bike, and now, over 2 decades later of winning hearts worldwide, the world's favorite Indian starts the mania all over again. Because this is the Pulsar NS400Z, pulsating performance and unswerving dominance. Now, we all know it shares the same engine as the Dominar 400, but is it identically same or have they made some tweaks? First of all, the Dominar 400 is priced at around 2.30 lakhs ex-showroom, whereas the NS400 is available for just 1.85 lakhs ex-showroom. That's almost a difference of 35,000 rupees. So what does the Domi get extra for that extra money it demands? Now here are the differences between Dominar 400 and NS400Z. First of all, the sprocketing is different for Dominar because it gets a 1545 sprocket, whereas the NS400 gets a 1546 sprocket. The wheelbase is considerably shorter by 110 mm, which makes the NS400Z much more easier to flick around. The ground clearance is more for NS400 as well at 165 mm when compared to 157 mm of the Dominar. The seat height is taller for NS400 at 805 mm when compared to 800 mm of the Dominar. The NS400 is significantly lighter at 174 kilos when compared to 192 kgs of the Dominar 400. Now that makes it a nearly 20 kg weight reduction, which should result in phenomenal acceleration. As a result, the power to weight ratio is incredibly high for the NS400 at 230 bhp per ton compared to 208 bhp per ton for the Dominar. Also, the RPM for the max power and max torque is different for both of these bikes. The NS400 reaches max power at 8,500 RPM compared to 8,800 RPM of the Dominar. Also, the NS400 hits max torque at 7,000 RPM when compared to 6,500 RPM of the Dominar. The rear tire is different here for NS400. It gets a 140 section radial rear tire, whereas the Domi gets a 150 section radial rear tire. Domi gets a larger tank capacity at 13 liters compared to 12 liters of the NS400. Also, the Domi gets pre-installed accessories like windshield, handguards, and rear luggage rack, which the NS400 doesn't get. So now that we're done with the differences between the Domi and the NS400, let's compare it to the 200NS as well, because the NS400, believe it or not, gets 20 mm shorter wheelbase when compared to the 200NS. Also, the seat height here is 805 mm compared to 807 mm of the 200NS. Ground clearance is 168 mm for 200NS and 165 mm for the NS400. Also, the 200NS gets a 300 mm front disc, whereas this one gets a 320 mm front disc. The tires are thinner for the 200NS. We get a 100 section tire up front and a 130 section rear tire, whereas here we get a 110 section front tire and a 140 section radial rear tire. The power and torque will obviously be different, and the weight is also lighter for 200NS because of the lower capacity engine. Now the NS400Z, how does it feel to ride in real world conditions? Let's check out my track ride reaction along with the top speed run. Okay, off goes the white lightning and the Black Panther. This is Flash, the right kind of a tire, the red tire. It's 373cc single DOHC 4-valve engine, a DLC coated finger followers, 40 PS of max power and 35 Nm of max torque. Has a dot matrix display. Thank you. Let's do the honors.
It sounds really good. I came riding all the way to Chakan from Lonavala, and this is one of my favorite tracks. So perfectly built. We have riding modes and we're straight away in the sport mode. So make sure we get a hang of the bike before we unleash it, because we still have 5 tracks left. So agile, so beautiful. Absolutely brilliant, and it wants to be revved harder, pushed further, not for the mellow, ambling around kind of people here. Off the parabola, let's carry a little bit of momentum and unleash ourselves across the straight, full throttle. Okay, that was good. The brakes are brilliant. Because we know the corners and know this track really well, I can push far more effortlessly. No tractability is doing this in 4th gear itself. Usually you'll have to shift down. That's not the case with this bike. Slightly slower corner here, so we'll shift to 3rd. USB forks are brilliant, helping you maintain the line through the corner. The fifth, hold it to the 5th and shift down to 4th. And out of the parabola in the 4th, try to achieve slightly more top speed. This time around, off we go. Gripper clutch watches your back while doing faster downshifts. Into the corner again. 161 is what I could achieve. There's some debris on the track, gotta watch out. Beautiful, amazing handling, great poise. As I told you before, this is more about performance rather than looking at a city slinger. Yeah, this is a proper Pulsar. This is indeed a proper Pulsar with pulsating performance.